Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a grand jury report says a San Diego megachurch should get its license suspended, and a troubled consumer group gets a new leader. Also tonight, how's the water at San Diego's beaches this Memorial Day weekend? A new pollution report card is out. And a candidate for county supervisor brought out some farm animals to illustrate a point about government pork. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. A wildfire east of Julian has forced dozens of families from their homes tonight. The fire is burning near Banner Grade in the Shelter Valley area. It started this afternoon and spread eastward. Residents were sent to Borrego Springs High School. We are tracking the fire online at kpbs.org. County grand jury says a megachurch in Point Loma should have its permit suspended. Services at the Rock Church draw about 12,000 worshipers to Liberty Station each Sunday, and there are complaints about traffic. The grand jury says the area's master plan calls for educational use only for the church site. The report says the Rock Academy is consistent with the plan, but the Rock Church is not. Church leaders have yet to respond to the report. There's a new leader at the Utility Consumers Action Network. Kim Malcolm is the new executive director of the watchdog group. She has worked with the Public Utilities Commission and an energy nonprofit in the San Francisco Bay Area. UCAN has been investigated after claims of mismanagement.
I think we have a lot of challenges and a lot of great opportunities to help maintain utility rates, keep them low, induce the utilities to provide good services, and protect the local environment as well. UCAN's got a solid reputation and almost 30 years of history, and I think we have a great foundation for building it and moving forward.
Earlier this year, UCAN filed for dissolution. A change in management was part of a settlement to keep the consumer group alive. Kim Malcolm will join us here on the set tomorrow. San Diego City school leaders finalized layoffs for more than 1,500 teachers this week. Now labor leaders are calling on the union and district to find ways to reduce those layoffs. KPBS education reporter Kyla Calvert joins us from the News Center. What's prompting this latest pressure, Kyla, on the union and district leaders?
Well, for the past several years, hundreds of teachers and other school staff have received layoff notices only to have them rescinded once the state budget is finalized. And so that's created this sense that the district is bluffing, that things aren't really as bad as they seem. But now even Lorena Gonzalez, who heads the San Diego and Imperial Counties Labor Union, is saying no. The $120+ million budget deficit at the school district isn't going away. We've had the governor's May revise. It was even worse than his January budget projections, and it's time for the teachers to sit down with the union, to come to a consensus on what the budget numbers look like, and to work together to reduce the number of layoffs that have already been finalized.
And what options do they have to reduce these 1,500 plus layoffs?
Well, Gonzalez said that she does not support the teachers opening their contract negotiations, but that they could agree to things like extending the 5 furlough days that they've had for the past couple years now in a side sort of agreement outside of that contract. And she said that what needs to happen is that the district needs to present teachers with an accurate picture of what making or giving up things like that would mean in terms of the number of staff that could be brought back, so that they can make an informed decision about what they would be willing to do to save some of these jobs.
KPBS education reporter Kyla Calvert. The chancellor of the 23-campus California State University system is retiring. Charles Reed will be stepping down after 14 years on the job. He recently came under fire over administrator salaries and rising tuition. Reed is expected to stay until a replacement is found. Nearly 36 people have been indicted in an undercover sting on car theft. Operation Last Judgment included early morning raids in San Diego and Riverside counties. Police say they recovered 84 stolen cars along with drugs and weapons. 31 people face charges ranging from auto theft to operating a chop shop. San Diego County beaches got pretty high marks in the latest Heal the Bay report card. The environmental group rated beaches for water pollution levels. 97% of the county's beaches got very good or good grades for the summer. Beaches facing the open ocean are usually the cleanest.
If you're in an enclosed bay, harbor like Mission Bay or like San Diego Bay, or you're swimming near a flowing storm drain, creek, river, or lagoon outlet, chances are you're really rolling the dice in terms of what water quality is going to be like when you go swimming there.
This is the second year in a row the county did not have a beach on the list of the state's dirtiest. Some environmental groups in Arizona may sue the federal government to protect California condors. The activists say 22 condors have died of lead poisoning in the past 2 decades, and they want to ban lead bullets. They say the Forest Service isn't doing enough to protect the birds. There are 405 known condors in the world, both in the wild and in captivity. Controversy over San Diego County's $5 million neighborhood reinvestment fund has been brewing for years. It's primarily controlled by the 5-member Board of Supervisors. One candidate, running for the first open seat on the board in nearly 20 years, calls it a slush fund for supervisors' pet projects. This may look like something out of a petting zoo, but these pigs are on display for a different reason altogether. Well, you know it's an election year when a candidate running brings pigs to town to illustrate a point.
It's kind of to symbolize stop the pork.
Steve Dannon is pushing to tighten the procedures governing how supervisors divvy up $1 million apiece in grant money. If elected, Dannon would face stiff opposition from the board, who all support the program.
You're right. Addiction to spending is a very tough habit to break. There's no question about that.
Dannon says he will work with the County Taxpayers Association to end or reform the program. He was supported by Greg Stein with the Taxpayers Group. Stein says the Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund was started in the late 1990s for one-time capital improvement expenditures.
And what we've discovered is that that is not the case, with millions of dollars spent for things like marketing and promotional materials, puppet shows, and so on.
This $5 million slush fund grew to $10 million a year, and it morphed itself into a complete political slush fund to purchase political patronage.
One of Dannon's challengers in the race, Dave Roberts, sent us this statement. The rules and regulations of the Neighborhood Reinvestment Program must be revised to include more public transparency. The application process must also be revised with strict guidelines. I support a total ban on gifts of any kind to supervisors or their staff members. We also heard from the campaign manager for candidate Carl Hilliard. He questioned Dannon for campaigning on federal government time for nearly 3 years, but Dannon says he only used personal or vacation time to campaign for the District 3 open seat. Our election coverage continues with a look at San Diego City Council's race for District 1. Incumbent Sherry Leitner faces 3 challengers. Amitha Sharma is talking about that at the roundtable.
Out of the 5 San Diego City Council seats at stake this election season, District 1 is likely the most competitive. Councilwoman Sherry Leitner has 3 challengers. Businessman Ray Ellis is one of them. Councilwoman Leitner and Ellis are here with me to discuss the issues in the race to represent District 1, which includes Carmel Valley, University City, and La Jolla. Councilwoman Leitner, you're about to complete your first term. What are your accomplishments, and why do you think you have so many challengers?
My accomplishments this far are excellent constituent services, and if you hadn't noticed, we've balanced the budget. If you listened to the press conferences yesterday, we are doing very, very well financially. Is one of the reasons I ran for office was to not only bring my neighborhood to City Hall, restore trust in the communities for City Hall, but to restore fiscal stability. And we've initiated pension reform and managed comp. In fact, the mayor has called me a leader in managed competition.
Why do you think you have so many challengers?
District 1, since you live in District 1, you know District 1 is a very engaged community, and there are a lot of people interested in serving the community.
A UT San Diego editorial recently described you as an enigma. They said that you've been inconsistent in your position on the San Diego Convention Center expansion, that you recently supported Measure B, but you have questions about the legality, that you voted for managed competition, but you are worried about the unintended consequences. What do you think of the paper's characterization of you?
I think they had a mission with their characterization.
Anything else?
I am very confident that I make very rational decisions, and I make decisions for the benefit of my community.
Ray, let's talk about an issue that is very big in University City, and that is the proposed Regents Road Bridge, which would cross Rose Canyon and Nature Preserve. What is your position on that proposal?
Well, my position is that we have about $800 million in deferred maintenance for infrastructure, which includes roads. And you can drive around District 1 and in La Jolla and University City and see the potholes. So while we've made some financial progress, we have a tremendous amount of work to do. So my priorities would be to let's take care of the infrastructure we have now. Before we start moving forward with new infrastructure. We have some very passionate opinions, environmentalists, folks, this thing's been on the plan for over 45 years. The folks that live in eastern side near Genesee are worried about public safety, as they should be. Disaster recovery is and disaster preparedness is an issue. So, but let's work this in phases. Let's deal with our initial challenge of these ongoing infrastructure problems. With a lot of reports are showing that we're falling further behind. So let's deal with that, get a plan in place, and then let's put this back on the table. And let's have a thoughtful discussion with all the community stakeholders and see what the best solution is for the neighborhood and the community.
The three other candidates in this race have taken a position on that proposal. Why won't you?
Well, because I think we've got to get our priorities straight, first and foremost. And second, I don't think no is a solution. This idea that we've got these other solutions floating around out there. I've walked the precincts near Genesee, and those folks are very upset and tired of the conversation. Tired of the complications of not having it. Another
big issue in District 1 is the One Paseo project proposal in Carmel Valley, yes, at Del Mar Heights Road, yes, and El Camino Real. This would consist of retail, restaurants, office space, and I believe hundreds of housing units. You've accepted money from the developer of this project. What is your position on this project? And some have called for you to recuse yourself. Would you?
I would not recuse myself from this project, and that is why I'm not taking a position. I need to represent my community on this issue. I've asked them to weigh in on it. We've done a frequently asked question sheet to explain why the city attorney has advised not to take a position on this land use issue. We've made arrangements to have the public forum this evening at Carmel Valley Middle School, and look forward to the community's comments on the draft environmental impact report. We hope that they do come forward with alternatives they'd like to see, and note that it will be coming to council. I do want to vote and represent my community on that.
And very quickly, Ray, where do you stand on this proposal?
Well, my position is I like the fact that it's going from pure commercial to a mixed use. I think that encourages folks to live and work in their communities. But having said that, I think the plan as it stands right now is too robust, and the mitigation needs to take place on traffic issues.
Ray, Councilwoman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Amitha will talk with the other two challengers in the race in just a moment. Smoking is the #1 cause of preventable death in the U.S. It's also one of the leading causes of cancer. Proposition 29 on the June ballot seeks to raise money for cancer research by increasing California's tax on cigarettes. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says some San Diego institutions could benefit.
At La Jolla's Sanford Burnham Institute, more than 500 people are involved in cancer research. Dr. Sarah Courtnedge directs one of the labs. For more than 7 years, Courtnedge has been studying how cancer cells invade tissues.
Both in the primary tumor that people get, but also in the spread of the cancer around the body, which is the thing that most people will die of, is the metastases that they have. And so we're very interested in defining the mechanisms by which cancer cells move and invade, and then also thinking about ways that we could come up with new therapeutics that would target that specific mechanism.
Courtnedge points out it takes years of false starts and multiple clinical trials to get even one potential cancer drug to market. And that requires a lot of money. Courtnedge and other cancer researchers' main source of funds is the federal government. But she says federal grants are becoming much tougher to get than they used to be.
We have a lot of ideas, and particularly in California, there are some terrific cancer researchers who are being limited right now in terms of what they can do. It's not their imagination that's limited, but it's the resources for them to be able to bring this forward.
Prop 29 on the June ballot would be a windfall for cancer research. It would raise California's tobacco tax by $1 a pack. Some of the money would go to smoking prevention. Most of it would go for cancer research. The American Lung Association is one of Prop 29's major backers. The association's Deborah Kelly says California used to have one of the highest tobacco tax rates in the country. But since California last raised tobacco taxes in 1998, a lot of other states have passed us by.
Well, we are standing at a pathetic 33rd. That means 32 other states have higher tobacco taxes than we do.
Kelly says under Prop 29, the tax on a pack of cigarettes would jump from 87 cents to $1.87.
The only people in California who are going to pay this tax are the 12% who continue to smoke, continue to buy tobacco products. And so what's going to happen is they're going to be more motivated to quit smoking, or they're going to smoke less. Fewer kids are going to start smoking, and so altogether this is going to mean a huge decrease in the number of people who smoke.
And that has tobacco companies up in arms. They've bankrolled a massive ad campaign against Prop 29.
I'm against smoking, so I thought Prop 29 was a good idea. Then I read it. It raises $735 million in tobacco taxes. But not one penny goes to new funding for cancer treatment. Instead, it creates a huge new research bureaucracy with no accountability.
It imposes nearly $1 billion in new taxes on Californians, but doesn't require it be spent in California creating jobs.
As of mid-May, tobacco giants have committed nearly $40 million to defeat Prop 29. That's nearly 4 times as much money as backers have raised. But supporters of the measure remain undeterred. San Diego allergist Michael Welch admits that California smokers already pay more than $5 a pack.
It's an expensive little pastime to smoke, but apparently it isn't a deterrent enough. And there's data to show that for about a 10% increase in the cost of a pack of cigarettes, about 4 to 5% of people will either not take up the habit or stop the habit if they have the habit. And those numbers sound good.
And the possibility of getting more money for cancer research sounds good to San Diego's scientific community, especially Dr. Christina Vori.
Biotechnology, medical research is one of the drivers for the economy in San Diego and in many parts of the state in general, and I think it will be very helpful to spark the economy at these times when things are not as rosy as they were some time ago.
That story from KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg. We continue our look at the San Diego City Council race for District 1. Amitha's talking with 2 more of the challengers at the roundtable.
Also running in District 1, Brian Pease helped lead the legal fight to protect the seals in La Jolla Cove. Now he's waging a fight to unseat District 1 City Councilwoman Sherry Leitner. And former Johnson & Johnson executive Dennis Ridds, who is also vying for Leitner's job, wants to be a leader who listens to his constituents. Brian, we'll start with you. You're an acknowledged carpetbagger. You moved from South Park to UTC.
The derogatory term.
To UTC to run in this race. Why?
I think that we need a progressive in this race. You'll see that there are fewer and fewer distinctions between the incumbent and her Republican challenger. Now, Dennis and I, even though I'm a Democrat and Dennis is a Republican, there are a lot more similarities between the two of us than the 2 establishment candidates. I'm in favor of protecting the environment, protecting labor, including our city workers. We're not going to throw city workers under the bus. With this Prop B, which is a fraud, by the way. It actually costs the city money to switch to a 401k. Now, I'm in favor of capping pensionable pay and not having these six-figure pensions. But Prop B is a fraud, and it does way too much, and it's a political ploy in order to get votes for a mayoral candidate who helped to put it on the ballot.
You're best known for your work on behalf of protecting the seals in La Jolla, but some say, gosh, you're just a one-issue candidate. What are you doing to change that perception?
Well, the seals are just one example of an issue that I helped save the city money and help protect a treasured natural resource. The incumbent council member got a C+ on her environmental report card, and the seals were just one of the issues that was the basis of that poor score, that no other council member got that low of a score other than Carl DeMaio. And so I would be a much better vote for the environment. Particularly on water use. I want to see water recycling implemented. I'm very suspicious of desalination because it's very energy intensive, and I think that we can do a lot with recycling.
And Dennis, you're a former financial executive. You've been critical of Sherry Leitner and Ray Ellis, the other challenger who we had on formerly. You've been critical of Leitner, saying that she's guilty of inaction, and Ellis, you've said, has not been specific on the issues. Offer me some examples on both.
With Sherry Leitner, I've dealt with her because I'm chair of one of her boards for 3.5, 4 years, and we would give her specific information on a topic, whether it be medical marijuana or a draft DIR, and either she ignores what we've asked her to look into, or as her latest thing now is, she won't stay for our meetings, saying that she can't listen. And yet I know for a fact that she's had meetings with the developers in her office.
And what about Ray Ellis?
Ray Ellis, I got into the race very late. I decided to give Ray a chance. I had 2 breakfast meetings with him, and I asked him, Ray, what are the issues that are important to Carmel Valley and Torrey Pines? And he couldn't answer the question. He even had Carl DeMaio call me, and Carl agreed that Ray didn't have the land use issues behind him. So I gave him another chance, told him where to find the answers, and the only thing I could get out of him was, well, I'm opposed to I-5. Well, why, Ray? Silence. And yes.
Well, what about the specifics on some issues that are very important to District 1? One is the One Paseo project in Carmel Valley on the corner of El Camino Real and Del Mar Heights Road. Proposition B to end guaranteed pensions for city workers, and the Regents Road Bridge in University City. Where do you stand on those very quickly?
Very quickly, I am opposed to One Paseo as it is established now for the 1.9 million square feet. We would be acceptable of a smaller project, but the primary issue there is that the mitigation that's being proposed, even in the draft ER, they say it is outside of the control of the city. So we have a time span that could be 10 years between the building of a project and not upgrading the highway. With the Prop B, I don't think it's well put together. I do not want to punish the city workers by creating a pension freeze or salary freeze. And on the Regents Bridge, I've been opposed to that entire project because we should leave the Rose Canyon alone. Okay,
and Brian, where do you stand on the Regents Road Bridge and the One Paseo project?
Well, the Regents Road Bridge is an issue that the community is divided about. I am in favor of protecting the environment, protecting our open spaces, so I'm against building the bridge, but I am more than willing to listen to community concerns with the folks who do want to have that bridge built and who think that it can be done in an environmentally safe manner.
And in 5 seconds, One Paseo.
One Paseo, I think, is too big and needs to be scaled down.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for speaking to us today.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Of course, you can find information on the candidates and the issues at stake this election, along with our online voter guide. Just go to kpbs.org/election.
Tonight in the public square, Mayor Jerry Sanders created a stir during his news conference yesterday, and not just because he said the city budget was even better than expected. He criticized councilman and mayoral candidate Carl DeMaio for taking credit for the city's financial reforms.
Carl takes credit on putting me on it. He probably takes credit for my weight loss, probably takes credit for the weeds I pulled in the backyard last week. It's all bullshit.
Sanders went on to say DeMaio had never voted for a city budget. DeMaio himself says the mayor's words could be chalked up to the campaign's silly season. He told City News Service, quote, "I don't care about credit. I'm just thrilled our fiscal reform agenda is working for taxpayers." He also said, "We all can celebrate and be proud that we have made this much progress without a tax increase." The mayor's statement got some response on KPBS.org. JV333 writes, quote, "Mr. Mayor, so refreshing to hear your candor. After this press conference, I am sad to see you go." And Mission Accomplished says Sanders' criticism is, quote, "a last-ditch effort to help Dumanis in the polls where she is sagging." Sanders has backed Dumanis to replace him. You can weigh in on the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course, you can email us. And now Dwayne has a recap of tonight's top stories.
Dozens of homes east of Julian have been evacuated because of a wildfire. It's burning near Banner Grade and heading east. County grand jury says the permit for the Rock Church should be suspended. The report says the church is in an area designated for educational use and not for churches. The grand jury was investigating traffic complaints. The church attracts an estimated 12,000 people on a typical Sunday. All of tonight's stories are on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. We are also tracking the Banner fire there. And thank you for tuning in tonight. Have a good night.